the stakeholders of the tourism industry here in Cebu. Maayong hapon sa makausapa. Last year, I said, tourism is not only a leisure activity, it is an economic activity. For many, it is easy to think that the tourism industry only involves sightseeing and whale watching and sardine run watching. But for every activity involved, there are thousands upon thousands of jobs and livelihoods that are given the opportunity to grow. And so, when Cebu was placed on ECQ because of COVID-19, everything closed. And for many of our towns, whose main economic driver was tourism, it was a catastrophe, an economic catastrophe. It cut across the entire spectrum of economic position in life. Yes, the poor and the poorest were most affected, but so were those that had a comfortable life. Why? Because not only were jobs gone, livelihoods taken away, businesses closed. Pagkadaghang mga resorts nagsira. Ug sa matag resort nga musira, pila ang nawad-ag trabaho. Di lang kana. Ang mga nag-supply og seafood, karne, utanon, undang sad ang negosyo. But government had to take those steps. Because then, a year ago, we were facing an enemy that we did not know anything about. If we were to base our conclusions on video footages coming from Wuhan, China, we truly believed that this mysterious virus could strike you and you wouldn't know what was happening. You'd just be walking down the street and then suddenly you drop dead. And so we took the most stringent measures. Lockdown. There were a few voices that said, lockdowns are not the answer. But these were drowned out by the cacophony of so many other sudden experts that insisted on lockdowns. Well, we had that. Ug unsay nahitabo, mga mayor, kinahanglan kita ang muhatag og bugas, mubuhi sa tanan nga nagpabilin sa kanila ilang mga panimalay. Kay wa na may pangita. Wa na may ikapalit og bugas. And then this dragged on. And as we watch the numbers grow, we also watched the hunger grow. Ningon ko, magpadayon na ta. Hutdo na lang nato ang tanan natong pundo sa gobyerno. pamalit og bugas, pamalit og dilata. Unsaon naman ang uwan nato mga proyekto? Ang mga gubangdan, ang mga patubig, ang programa alang sa mga katigulangan, sa mga kabataan, sa mga kababayenan, undangon tanan ni tanan. Bugas na lang og dilata ang atong gastuan. That was an untenable situation. Government could not continue that way. And so we started studying the figures and started drawing our conclusions and realizing that, yes, COVID-19 is real, but on the other hand, there are measures that we may take in order to live with this disease, because in the meantime, so many people's livelihoods have gone. And so we were probably the first province to issue Executive Order 20 and 20-A, outlining the very, very strict protocols per tourism activity that we asked all of our tourist establishments to follow. That was last year, August. Niablita. And lo and behold, we were suddenly, the resorts, the mountains, the beaches were suddenly the choice destinations of former mall goers. Kadtong mangadto sa mall sa una, mangadto na sa atong kadagatan o kabukiran. They suddenly found that fresh mountain air and fresh sea air was good for their health. We limited that in the island of Cebu. Kay kinahanglan sad gitun-an na tugmaayo. I was in constant communication always with the Department of Tourism, the DTI, of course our Department of Health. By the way, they are present here, so this is sanctioned. Stand up to be recognized, R.D. Bernadas. And our Chief Pathologist, Dr. Jean Loreche. Every step that we took, I did not do it alone. I consulted, I asked, and got inputs from all of our regional directors. That's why DILG always agrees with us over here in the region. R.D. Trovella, with P.D. Lucero. And so we issued that executive order that opened up tourism within the island lang. Ug ang mga Sugboano nakadiskubre ug unsa di ay katahom ang ilang kaugalingong isla sa Cebu. This went on. The resort started to open up. Jobs were restored. But then we noticed kay lagi ang manggawas kadto mga nagtrabaho. Mao na nga atong mga resorts mapuno weekends. Sabado, Domingo, kung long weekend, Birnes, Sabado, Domingo. But during the week, mubo kaayo ang occupancy. Nga naman, nanarbaho man tong mang check-in dito sa atong mga resorts. R.D. Shalimar Tamano had kept on already suggesting, Gov, it's your call. Cebu can always open up to domestic tourism, to the NCR and the rest of Luzon. And I said, let us sit down. Ato ning tun-an, unsaon tani. Ugiuna nako ug basa ang IATF guidelines. Nigawas sa latest IATF guidelines, wa na tay LSI. Di na kinahanglag letter of acceptance. ang naa na lang authorized persons outside of residence or APORs o ang non-APORs. Of course, ang OFWs o returning Filipinos. Unsa may nakasulat for non-APORs. Katong dili mga officials gobyerno, dili mga regional directors o nagtrabaho sa gobyerno, dili mga medical or frontliners, katong mga nakalista under APORs, unsa may giingon? For non-APORs, interzonal and intrazonal movement for any purpose is allowed subject to reasonable regulations by the LGU concerned. And by that guideline, we decided we will open up Cebu to the rest of the country for domestic tourism with these reasonable guidelines. First of all, let's do away with the RT-PCR test. Because if APORs are no longer required to have RT-PCR, what is the difference between the bodies of APORs and the bodies of non-APORs? Tingga ang lawa sa pikas? Unya, nipa ang sa pikas? Parihar man tingalin eh. Symptom screening ang atong gipangayo, dinha mismo sa point of departure and point of arrival. And by the way, kanigibalik-balik nga letter of acceptance, panahon pa na ni Mampor. Kadto patong na atay mga locally stranded individuals. And so why should we insist in the province of Cebu? Wa na maghatay LSI. Wa na may ECQ, MGCQ naman ta. We have simplified entry into the province of Cebu. First they asked, hala ka, Gwen, wa ka mahadlok sa COVID? Manood na ginang COVID na to. Ikaw niya naman sa tayo COVID diri. COVID dito, COVID diri. Same difference. Unsa importante, each one must exercise his or her responsibility in following the minimum health protocols. Maura gyud na. We cannot aspire. This is no longer akin to the time when we had zero COVID and we closed our ports, we closed our airports. Nga naman, aron di ta masudlan. Now we have community transmission. But we've managed. Thank you very much. The national average states, as they keep on counting cumulatively, including last year, that in spite of, and please read the DOH advisory, of the hundreds of thousands, pila naman taron, 600,000 kapin, 2% ang fatality rate. Ugon niya, ang recovery, 96%. Ang active, naas mga 9% ra. Sa 9%, which is about 53,000, I computed that 96% of that are either mild or asymptomatic. How do we deal with COVID? Let us manage COVID by ensuring that we have adequate hospital care. We have enough hospital beds. Right now, if I am to believe Dr. Bernadas, the critical care utilization is at 42, well below 50%. We deal with it. Dili man ta ka-aspire nga ma-zero COVID. Biki sa may gusto ma-zero COVID, kay tagaan ta mog tour package padung na lang antos Paraiso. We have to be able to deal with it in the same way we have dealt with other diseases because On the other hand, we now have a comatose economy. Mas naluka pa ang ekonomiya ug mas nidaghan ang nangaapektuhan tungod niining pagkahugno sa atong ekonomiya kay lagi nang hinubra ang atong mga restrictions. So we decided to ease these restrictions for tourists coming in to the province. Earlier, I had discussed with Dr. Bernadas and Dr. Loreche, we might put in additional safeguards to ease sometimes what we may call psychological fears. That is under discussion. But definitely, our direction is to make it as easy as possible for tourists to come to the province while at the same time maintaining the safety of the province. So karon ato mga mayors, labi na kadtong naay mga resorts, nasayod mo, weekends ra, nga naay mang check-in, correct? O karon, kining atong tour packages, pwede ra ni ma-availed of Lunes ngadto sa Huwebes, Monday to Thursday. Those are the lean days. And so we can ensure that there will be more guests during these days. We have packaged this with the participation and cooperation of our airlines. Ug daghan kaayong salamat. Nahibaw ko, nagsakripisyo mo maayo. Pero nihatag og round trip fare nga mubo gyud kaayo sa nga tanan. Daghang salamat PAL, Cebu Pacific, and AirAsia. And we have packaged this with the Cebu tour and transport operators, who also have been very, very cooperative and will be instrumental, first of all, our tour operators, in selling these packages. Daghan kaayong salamat sa atong tour operators ug sa atong mga transport operators. Together, of course, with our tour guides. Thank you sa atong tour guides. Most of all, our resorts that have agreed to very special rates so that we can eventually come up with a very attractive package divided into 3 categories: Category A, Category B, Category C. How were the resorts classified? In accordance with existing DOT standards as regards available amenities and other infrastructure. So, well, top of the list, gusto mo enjoy o 4 days, 3 nights to the north, mo istar mo sa naila na kaayo nga 6-star resort, Candaya. Well, you could do that. Candaya is offering Category A, Category B, Category C. And Category A, for those, this is live, that will be coming in from Metro Manila, can be had for as low as 12,000 pesos. All in na. Sugaton sa airport, well, with a plane fare, met at the airport by a coaster, you are limited to only 12 persons per coaster. Together with your tour guide, you have your own assigned tour guide, and you will be brought all the way to the north with some stops for lunch and other visits to tourist sites. Category B can be had for as low as, pila na to? Libre na? Di pa? Pila? At any rate, kining among tourism diri, wa ka memorya. Ang bibi. Category B can be had for a double occupancy niya, by the way. So, dada na lang inyong uyab. Siguro ag uyab ra inyong da, kanang di mo minyo. Double occupancy, that's 9,000 pesos for category B. That's all in na ha. Ug ang category C, 7,500 pesos. These are for our domestic tourists coming in from Luzon. You ask, na ay local? Yes. Pwede sa nis local, pero Monday to Thursday. Less 2,000 pesos. Kay wa naman ang sa airfare. So, gusto mo mag-double, adto mo sa